Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Patience Rose, and this is Co-working Live with Red Worldwide. And I tell you, we are excited to be here with you today. We're excited for a few reasons because we have had some technical difficulties this morning, but regardless of that, we are continuing to move forward because we understand that technical difficulties sometimes will come in life. And unfortunately, um, we don't have the control of all of them. But what we can tell you is that we know how to mitigate what it is that we're doing. And I know some of you guys see me looking to the other screen over there, and it's because we are mitigating those technical difficulties as we speak. But what we're going to do today is our day that we talk about, how to make things easier, better, how to make it, more relaxing so that we can, be more creative. How do we treat our bodies so that as a business owner, as a person who is a professional or an executive or someone who is a creative, so a person who is an inventor, those people who we are, have the ability to last out our calling or the profession, here in the earth. And so some of us are very clear about the fact that we have a birth date and a death date. Okay, we exist in a time and space, and we have a very short period of time to make ourselves effective and to do what we do and add value to the world. And so when we are looking at business from that standpoint, we have to be looking at what can we do to elongate or to, I should say, max out our performance. And with that said, today we're going to talk about some really key fine disciplines that we have to put in place to make sure that we as people who are these creatives, business owners, inventors, executives, career trainers, mentors, all of those things that we are, we have a responsibility to ourselves and to those around us to make sure that we are doing things at the highest level, with the highest level of intention, I should say. And with that said, I'm going to share my screen because I want to make sure that everyone is able to see what I'm seeing. But we are going to talk about calendaring and journaling and planning today. How do we do that efficiently, effectively? And we'll talk specifically about, some tools that we could use to make it not just easier, but fun, and to make it, something that is a part of a process. We talked about these standard operating procedures that we need to have in place, but, how do we do this in a way that is going to make us more proficient? So let me get my share screen going here. And okay, so we see right now on the screen is our one of the journals that I created back in 2020. I've done this pretty much every year. This is actually a productivity planner, but I've done it every year because I found that when I create my own, I tend to follow it a little bit better. And so at the time, we were, um, you know, presenting these in such a way that people wanted to purchase them. They liked mine so much. I never forget, I was sitting in church in a different state, and there were people who were around me watching what I was doing on my tablet, and they're like, what is that? And so I just so happened to be with my oldest daughter and my son-in-law. And my son-in-law, he reached over me. He was sitting in a seat behind me while service was going on. And I turned to the part of my journal that allowed me to capture the sermon notes. And I turned on my recorder and I was recording the sermon notes right while I was writing my notes on the page. And he was like, okay, I want one of those. What is that? I'm going to go buy a tablet so I can have access to that, And so it was really interesting to see the response, of people who are around me. But even before that, this was not my first journal that I created. I did a planner a year before this and the year before that, and all of those planners received some of the same type of accolades. People were interested. They wanted to know how they could get it. So I decided, okay, fine, I'll make it so that I could give it away. So I gave it away the first year. And I mean, everyone that received one, by the time we got to November of that year, they were like, okay, where's my one for next year? We don't mind paying. So I made it so it was available for purchase. And when I did that, it was quite interesting to see the people that were really interested in utilizing it. And so let me just say this. I'm all for what you can use your phone to put on your calendar because, of course, it automates things and it'll send you notifications and reminders and all of that thing. But there's still a lot to be said about good old pen and paper. And so there are people who love paper journaling. They love the planners. They will go and still buy the planners. Now, they're available everywhere. Inside of Target, there's a whole section, of journals and planners and things that you can purchase. And I happen to know and have it on good authority that one of our daughters, who is, amazing at graphic design, has created some journals, and they're available on Amazon. And so we might take a look at some of those this morning. But there are some of us who really still like tech. We are just techies, and we want, to have, the same the feel of the pen and paper, to be able to write, but I want it inside of my tablet because I don't like carrying paper. And I'm just that person. Although I do have one notebook that I carry just in case I need, paper notebooks for something or my tablet dies. But for the most part, I am the person who's going to carry a charger and everything else to make sure that I can keep my tablet available. And so I'm reaching for it because I try to not have it too far. And I'm able to just kind of go and open it up and use my pen of choice. I have a couple of different, my Apple Pencil and another pen that I also have for drawing. And they actually, go right to the journals and planners. And I'm able to keep my my schedule in there. I can actually write notes as I'm in a class or a coaching session with someone, when I'm teaching online. If I'm teaching, one of the courses that I teach, I'm also keeping notes, so I can remind myself about my students and what it is that they may be needing from me. So these are things that are really important. And so I want to kind of open this one up a little bit so you can see what's there. I tried to, when I was creating this, make the journal a little more realistic in terms of what a pencil and paper journal would look like. And so this is not the final version of it. I had to go and find this version so I could show you, what I did. But all of these things I actually added as graphics. Okay. The edge that's here, that's a graphic. All of the, these little buttons that you can click on, those are all graphics, and even the buttons on the side, although this particular page doesn't have the January, February, March, April, May, that's what would be there on the side, right-hand side. But all of my links to every part of this journal that was really important, is right here. And let me also say this, that this is a journal that you could actually create. This is something that is very I won't say simple, because I don't want to, make it appear as though the simplistic nature of the journal itself, it has any indication on what it would go into to create it. But what I will tell you is that it has some there are ways that you can make this process simpler so that just about anybody could do it, whether you have these graphic design prowesses or not. Okay, you could do this. I promise you could do this. So especially now with Canva and Adobe Express and all of these wonderful softwares. They have some wonderful AI softwares that are out there that help you to create some different graphics, graphical elements and things of that nature. You could so do this with the with the tools that are there. So let's kind of look at what's on the the front page. And I'll go back to my cover because the cover page really let's see. The cover page itself is really just a graphic. It looks like a piece of leather, or a leather cover, and I just literally threw the words on top of it, so they're not embedded in the book cover. But now with Photoshop and some of these other softwares, you could actually have AI create you a software. I mean, or another software could actually create, because I know Adobe has like Firefly and some of these other wonderful softwares that could make it look like these words were popping right out of this journal cover. But in any event, when I get to this part here, these are literally just graphics on top of graphics. Okay. So it's very easy to do. Now, in this book, I have like a section for the declaration, decrees, development, disciplines, and journal. Each one of those is a separate section. And I also have some lined notes where you can, write on the lined paper or type on the lined paper if you want to type. There's a sketchbook in here, which is just plain pages. There's a legal pad in here. There's a meeting notes section in here. And so it's really designed, to help you in every different area, or at least every area that I was going for that year that we did this, of life. Okay. From faith to finance to food to fitness and family. We tried to kind of have something available for every sector. So I want to just show you how easy it is to get around, because these are literally just links. And if you know anything about linking structures, you can literally link pages to graphics on other pages within the same document, pretty simply, inside of PowerPoint or Keynote. Now, there are other ways to create this journal, and I've known other people to do it as a full PDF, and everything is being done inside of Adobe, Acrobat. And that's still a good process. I'm not telling anyone that it's not a good process, but there are some complexities that if you don't really have the skill set, to move around in Adobe Acrobat, it's a lot easier to just do it as almost like a PowerPoint or Keynote slide presentation. And so it's kind of an interesting way of approaching it, but I've seen a lot of people who create bullet journals and these online journals, and that's how they do it. So let's kind of just click on one of these so you can see what I was saying when I was explaining that you could actually go from here to a particular page. So here is aligned notes or legal pad that you could actually draw on. If you had a pencil, or you could type on with your computer keyboard. Okay. And so because there's the ability for you to go into the journal, from the side here. I told you that we actually had the tabs were there, but it's just not on the front page, because this particular version of this was like my not final version. This was a draft. So it's a little clunky because I don't have all of the things in there for you, but this just gives you an idea of what it would look like. Let's look at what the meeting notes section would look like. Okay. And so here is just my rendition of what meeting notes could be about, the location, the date, the attendee's purpose, and then a section for the notes, which is literally just lines. Okay. And so this is another one of those times where, it's just if you notice that the things at the top here changed when we got to the inside of another section of the notebook. But yes, you can get around in terms of the navigation from the top tabs or the side tabs. And in most of the sections on the journal, there's going to be a little home key down here at the bottom. It's just not in this particular draft version, but I'm going to go back to January so we can see what I was talking about. See the little home icon that I put there, which was kind of just a way of getting people back to, the front page, and so they can navigate to something else. Okay, and so let's look at what our family section might look like. Okay, well, here my family plan for 2020, and so I just literally had a place for instructions, and this kind of takes me back to the front page again, or the home key at the bottom would have taken me back. And for finance, let's see what that looks like. Oh, bills and expenses. Okay. So here we have all of the first letters of the months here, and the bills that we normally would be paying in a month, and the total, a space for totals at the bottom, and a place for us to just check it, that those bills have been paid for the month. And I probably could have made it such that you could put a date in there, if I had made it just a little bit wider and a little bit less space here. That might have been something that someone could do. But then you could always, the one thing that I love about tablets is you can just always make it bigger and write smaller. Okay, that also works. So, just giving you the ability to take stock of making sure that you're paying things and paying them on time. Now, expenses, okay? This is another space. Just like these spaces are a little bit larger than these here, giving you the ability to actually write what the total amount was that you spent on these particular items. Okay, so that's it's a win there for people, because they're able to, just really keep up with the expenses. Here's another section, the food section. And this one has really evolved in my later journals, but at this point in time, I was really just trying to give a place for us to create menus, okay? Because menus were really important at that point. And so just being able to make sure that we knew what we were going to be eating on a particular day. I remember in 2020 when I created this, my grandchildren, who at the time were a big part of my life in that they lived with us, they were weighing in on what breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks looked like. So I remember that this was a really interesting experiment, because they could, also put things on the grocery list as things were running out. And so I gave them access to this part of my tablet to help me keep things organized, because at that time I was just all over the place trying to, keep up with all of the wonderful things that were going on. Let's go to the fitness section and see what that looks like. Okay. And so as you notice, I clicked on the tab, and the tabs change colors to show you what area that you're in. Interestingly here, I have my week's goals and the percent complete, that I'm on those particular goals. And then my activities, my drinking of water. I know Crystal Morgan would, Nurse Crystal, she would really love this part, because it's kind of evolved in the later iterations. We now, are tracking it across the day, but at least, we are giving a way for us to write down what the activity was and how much water we were drinking during that activity, and how did we feel. And then of course we're keeping stats, weight, body fat, other things that are really important. Okay, so that takes us back to the whole beginning. And so let's look at, a couple of other things here. And we've kind of looked at the fitness, we've looked at the faith plan, and the family plan literally are just instructions. I believe in the other journal, we actually have, there we go. Revenue, savings, and investments. It's here, so we are keeping up with these particular areas, in that way. So I'm gonna go, let's see. Yeah, I kind of named these months for what it was that we were doing at that time in ministry as well. So we had some things. And so this is where I was really trying to go. All right, so let's take a look at how our months are set up. We actually have a week page that gives us the ability to chart what we're going to do in a particular week. And on Saturday, what our work focus is at this time it was resting. Okay, and it's what we want to make it at this time in our life as well. But just saying that from time to time it has been a little more challenging to really get this rest time in. But we have scheduled it, here in this particular journal, that Saturday would be our rest day. And then our character focus. This is something that we put in this particular journal that I like because, it helps us to work on our character traits and things that we want to bring out inside of our character and personality, the intentionality, compassion. So we can choose to work on specific things in a particular week. And we can work on more than one things in a week if we want, just based on how we really see ourselves being able to accomplish those tasks during the week. But then also we were able to, have a space to write down our goals. And we could from here, go to the section where we actually are inside the journal. So this is January 3rd, 4th, 5th, and let's see. This is going this way. The 6th, okay, we have our task. I have a method at this time that I was using called FIRE, follow up, inform, research, and execute. And so we have spaces for those things that we were doing at that time. People that we needed to follow up with, people that we needed to inform, of different things that were going on during the week or in a day, even people who we needed to, not people, but things we needed to research and things that we need to execute. And then, of course, we would write our appointments down here. And again, it was just kind of a wonderful way for us to keep up with things. And notice how, in commanding my day, I still have my links at the top to get me back to some of the most important parts of the journal. If I needed to quickly go to meeting notes, I could do that by clicking here, or go to the sketchbook, or go to the legal pad. Those things were available to me. So let's kind of see how we can get back to the beginning of the journal. Okay, so I think that this one is where a link is broken, and I want to, it's, this is one of those pages we hadn't yet finished. And so what I'll do is I'll do this so that we can actually get back to the section that I was wanting to go to. But while we're adjusting the pages and getting back to some of the sections that I did want to show you next, because there is a journal inside of this planner, which, I wanted to really show that. We really jammed this, this is like a jam-packed version of the planner, and it's really interesting, all of the things that we were able to make happen. And so let me share my screen again. So you're able to see this next section. And then we'll talk about how you could create your own, okay? What the plan would be for doing something like this, and how inexpensive it is, to actually, do it yourself, okay? Sure, you could buy one on Etsy or on some of those. I've seen them on sale for sale. People sell theirs on Instagram and other places, but you could also just make your own. And so, we'll talk about how you can make that happen. I told you the software that I used, but, we'll talk about the ease of use in that software, because I didn't just use Keynote. I used Keynote to put it all together, but I used Word or Pages to actually create the pages that I needed to go in the journal. And then I saved those as PNGs or graphics, and then I brought them in to this page and made it so that you could see it, and then we could use it. Okay, so this is the introduction to the journaling section that people would have been able to get to by just clicking on journal. And so I kind of took the time to really, create an introduction that made sense. I talked about some famous journals. That was really important to me, because I was able to go and find these wonderful graphics of all the different types of journals in history that, some different very famous people have utilized. I have, just a graphic of Thomas Edison's journal, and another one of Albert Einstein's journal, and Frida Kahlo's journal, and Marie Curie's journal. And so this was very, impactful to me because I was able to see where these very famous people who kept journals, actually were able to write down their thoughts and their plans. And I mean, Leonardo da Vinci's probably is one of the most awe-inspiring journals that I had ever gotten a chance to see a page out of. Just looking at his ideas and the inspiration that he had, to do some things. And so it was really important. Then I have, in my journal, I put journaling scripture because in my faith tradition, I use scripture and, just to give me inspiration. I use scripture, for prayers. I use scripture for guidance. So, I put scripture in my journal section of the planner. Okay. Now, these are my journaling pages. And so I actually wrote myself notes. And here's one of them. Stress is the condition that results when our circumstances and conditions lead us to perceive a discrepancy, whether real or not, between the demands of our situation and the resources to which we have unrestricted access. Want stress relief? Refuse to rationalize, run when necessary, and apply evasive defense when temptation is strong. Release pride, risk embarrassment, but seek God's help. He is a ready help in our time of need. And so this was actually a quote that came from a book of quotes that were from other books that I had written at that time or had started writing at that time. And this one is from 5 Minute Matters because I have these things that I call 5 Minute Matters, and stress relief was one of those 5 Minute Matters. It doesn't take all day to get stress relief. It's just the matter of, making a decision how you're going to approach it. And so that was what this was about, but looking at, giving myself the ability to journal from the prompts that I left myself was really important because and I had many prompts. So here's another one. We all need something in our lives that checks greed. Once called plexonexia, an ancient word for contemporary conditions that this greed thing. Its appetite can never be satisfied and is not easily suppressed or hidden. Learn how to have a healthy relationship with money. Remember, it is not synonymous with wealth. And no matter how much money you have, it will never buy you happiness. And so this was another one of those quotes that was in the 5 Minute Matters books. That's also in another book that I wrote, which was Coursing Life's Path, which was a book that I wrote some years ago. But interestingly enough, I did this for every day of the year, so I have all these quotes and these wonderful lines for me to respond, to the prompt or to read the prompt and let it give me something else that I would respond to. So I have other journals that I ask questions and the prompts are to lead you to respond to the questions that were asked. But in this particular one, that's not quite the way. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. Now, how could you do this? Well, literally, you could utilize a software that will give you the ability to create a page and put lines on the page. And then you could, now that we have ChatGPT, or for that matter, Google Bard or Notebook LM, some of these softwares that are really, really good at helping you flesh out your ideas, you could ask the software to assist you. Tell it that you're trying to create an annual journal or a monthly journal. Now, I'll tell you how I got started. I didn't create 365 days before I started using my journal. I created 1 month. Okay. And really, to be honest with you, just to see if it was what I liked, I created 1 week. And I used a software to create my first journal called Noteshelf. And so we don't have time for me to really go into Noteshelf today, but I will show you what it looks like. Just so you can get an idea. And then we're going to, just have to jump out for today. But I wanted to give you just the ability to see, how easy this could be for you. So I am sharing my screen for you to be able to see Noteshelf. I'll make it just a little bit bigger. And Noteshelf is a place that I keep a lot of things. And, I want to share with you the ability for you to create a note shelf is really easy because you can buy it in the App Store. If you're a Mac user, you can get it in the App Store for your computer. You can get it also for your phone or for your tablet. And once you have it, you can create a new notebook by just, clicking on the link, telling it what the cover is that you'd like to choose. They have a lot of different types of covers, or you can just choose one that, really suits your fancy, or you can make a custom cover. So let's just choose one real quick. Okay. I'm going to choose this yellow one here, and you can choose the pages, the paper that you want. Well, in this particular case, I'm just going to choose some legal paper just to kind of give you an idea. So now I have legal paper, and I don't want it landscape. I want it portrait. So I'm choosing that right now. And then I can go ahead and create my notebook. Okay. And so now the notebook is created, right? And I can now go back and change the templates, because I don't necessarily want all lined pages. I think I might want to have some pages that are, reflective of my journaling. So I can go and look at, I'm going to create some custom pages, or I can look at pages that are available inside of NoteShelf. So NoteShelf has lots of pages, okay? And in my library, I have, I think, kept some pages this is like a daily itinerary page that I could just bring into the notebook, and I can create daily itinerary and make duplicate pages of this daily itinerary, or I can actually go back and get a whole notebook of pages that are specific to the month and the date and that we're in. But in this particular case, I just wanted to pull in a daily itinerary so that I have ability to have today's schedule and main activities. Now, how you would continue to do this is you can create several pages, or you can just make a new page that looks just like that page. Okay. And inside of this particular note shelf, okay, I actually have the capacity to create multiple notebooks, right? So I have many, many different notebooks that I've created over the time of me having access to the software. And I mean, I use this to take notes for all of my classes that I'm in, and even I create note books for my students, so they have the ability to keep up with what we're doing. I put my syllabus in here, and everybody's able to share the information that is needed. And so I want to just show you just one, if I can get in here. So this is a page that I created. I created this page myself inside of a word processing software called Pages. And I also brought into it other PDFs because of the fact that I wanted to be able to keep up with certain things. And so you can see here that I actually created a page that had my top priorities, my to-do list, my notes, and my schedule. And so I did this because I was in the process of creating my new journal for the year 2024, but I still needed to have access to, something that would keep me on task for the last week of 2023. So this was just a quick thing that I put together, to help me have access. And it's so simple for you guys to do this kind of stuff. I mean, it just really is simple, for you to bring it in. So on one of our Tech Thursdays, we'll break down and we'll go through and show you exactly how you can put all of these pieces together and make them work for you. So let's see. I had somebody, you can't see the pages. Can you see them now?
We just see the colors like of the notebook. You know what I mean?
Okay.
All
If
right.
you
were
so
showing
hold on.
tasks and things like that, it didn't show
Yeah.
that.
So let me go back here and stop share and reshare just so you can see those pages right quick. Okay. Because I think that what happens is when you get to inside the pages, it stops the share. All right. There we go. I think that's a security feature. So now you can see them.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I can see yes.
All right. So this is, as I was saying, this is a page that I just created, I pulled in that page from inside of NoteShelf. That was a pre-designed page, but then I created my own pages with my own lines because I wanted the lines to be a certain length apart, and I wanted to be able to have it for, different purposes. So this one was for sermon notes. I have some that were for meeting notes, and I was able to, utilize, these are Cornell notes. That's what it's called. It's this particular type of page, but I wanted to be able to have a way of putting things in the margin and having a summary section at the bottom, and a place for me to write the sermon notes when I'm sitting there listening to someone else's sermon. So, I'm going to kind of go back because you guys missed this part here. So the creation of the pages. So the other thing that I want to tell you is that, which is really kind of cool, you have the ability here inside of this, system to utilize it to have AI to weigh in. So you could actually click on the text and type something. So let's just say I'm going to type the word peace, and I can actually tell AI to generate notes on peace, summarize peace, explain peace, translate peace. So it'll send it to translate it to another language, or you can ask anything. Create a summary of scriptures on peace. Okay, so I'm just showing how you could utilize this to help you study. Oh no, it gave it to me and then it took it away. Okay, I think that I might have an internet issue. Okay, so but yeah, just so you see how you would do that, and then yeah, it's something going on with the software. So when you create it, you could click on done, and it could, if you told it to, bring that section inside of your document, depending on how you wanted to use it. But we'll just summarize peace here and see. Yeah, it's still doing this little thing. That's an internet issue. I apologize, guys. But yeah, so if it wouldn't work that way on your side, you'd actually have access if you have good internet. So, would give you the ability to pull that information in. And this is what it could look like for you, because I actually had it to give me some notes on some of the services that we provide and how I could express that information for a business plan that I was working on. But yeah, so this is just another way of creating a journal inside of the software that you're going to use to deploy the journal. Now, I'm going to stop share and we'll be done today with this. But I wanted to just say to you that there are so many ways for you to get this particular type of project completed, So I don't want to say that there's any right or wrong way. I'll say that they're just different ways. These are ways that I did it, but you might have another complete way that you do it, that gets the bullet journal completed. I will tell you that once you complete the journal in a digital manner, you could actually save it as a PDF and print it and make a physical journal. And so that is something that other people that I've seen have done utilizing the software. They've gotten everything in place just the way they wanted it. And then they've created a physical journal. So of course, if you're going to create a physical journal, you wouldn't put the wire, graphic wire rungs on the left side. And there are certain things that you wouldn't need to do, like the tabs and things of that nature, because you're creating a physical journal. So you can create physical tabs. But if you are wanting to have like a hybrid kind of process where maybe you have a physical rendition of your journal, there are ways that you can do that too. So like I said, on a Tech Thursday, we'll deep dive into the tech part of this. I just wanted to show you that you could have a process that is possible that helps you to plan, journal, run a life process that is a circle of disciplines, I believe, that is necessary and that can be effective in helping you to be better at the things that you do and more productive. Well, this has been Patience Rose with Co-working Live here with Red Worldwide. I hope that this has been something that you really enjoyed and something that you could learn. I see a couple of people sharing things in the chat, and let me read a couple of those before we jump out. One says, yes, keep everyone healthy. The journal will really keep you on track. And then someone else says, what can I do to help with the work on upcoming agendas? Okay, that's awesome, Deborah. And so we'll talk a little bit more about how you can keep us on track with the upcoming agendas. And then Crystal, am I showing the AI part? Okay. Yeah, so that's one thing about the software. When we share, some of it is moving quite quickly and you can't necessarily see what the AI is saying. But when we go do our deep dive, I'm going to share it from a different camera set so you can actually see it as it's doing it. Okay. So that will help you to be able to know how to use that particular section. Well, as we stated, this is, the end of co-working for today, but we really do expect that you'll be with us tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be going into doing some things in tech. And we have, again, Javon Freeman from Lux Vision Studios and Divine Lux Properties that's going to be here with us sharing, another set of tech ideas with something that's really cutting edge that has just hit the forefront this week. And so we're excited to learn about it. And I'm hoping that you'll be here with us as we do. And until next time, we'll see you again.